Time to give the people what they want. Damn, I'm tired though.
We cross over to the English stratum and see them enjoying the game. Whale would be concerned since Nagi hadn't really done anything noteworthy in the game yet. Shigiri would have the same concerns, but for Isagi, Hiragi would just be watching closely from the background, seeing what Nagi would do without a talented learner to carry him. We cut over back to FC Barcha vs Boston Munchen kickoff. Nagi would overhear Isagi tell Kunigami that they better give it their all, if not they would be benched next game. 2-2. Kickoff. Begin. Otoya would pass the ball to Bachura, who would start messing around with Isagi by having multiple stepovers onto passing it to Otoya, who would play shadow tag with Bachura. Grim would go for a press against Bachura, who would do a reverse roulette to get by him. Kunigami would try to join for a double press, but Bachura would heel flick it in the air. Ness would catch the ball in the air, taunting him, saying that rhythm won't work forever. Ness would go for a cross, but Nagi would steal the ball from behind, saying it's time to level up. Nagi would start trading passes with Bachura. Birkenstock and Mensa would go in for the double press, but Nagi would use his black hole trap from the second selection and lift it up in the air in a similar way to Shido. Then Nagi would say, "This is my solo football. I hope you're watching, Isagi." He would shoot his bicycle shot, but Kunigami would get in the way, saving the shot and saying, "Not yet." Mensa would get the pass to Ness, who would send a pass to Kaiser, but it's intercepted by Isagi, who would get pressed by Picasso, leaving Isagi with no choice but to shoot, but Picasso stops it with ease. Otoya dashes for it, but Grim gets the ball first. Grim would notice that Nagi and Kunigami are trying to press Kaiser, so he would send the ball to Ness, but Isagi stops it. Bachura would get in Isagi's way, but Isagi would fake him out with a shot feint. Isagi, desperate to get his numbers up to stay on the pitch, to show his hero Noah he can still be a vital asset to this team, would send a pass to Kunigami, with Isagi telling him to keep running his... "Shut up, Isagi. This is pathetic of you." The old Isagi wouldn't stoop so low by only proving himself useful with assists. Every time I played with him, he always scored. I valued you as my final boss to beat, but now you're not even that big of a deal. Nagi would send the ball after stealing it to Bachura and would tell Bachura to follow his lead. Bachura, excited to see what Nagi is cooking up, would play along. Kunigami would go for a tackle so Nagi couldn't trap the ball with his legs, but Nagi would trap it with his back and kick it forward to Otoya. Nagi would run past Bachura, who received the pass from Otoya. Bachura would call Nagi clever for using him as a wall so he could avoid danger. Nagi would rush straight for goal, and Bachura and Otoya would trade passes. Bachura would say, "Here you go, Nagi-chi. Not so fast, lazy genius. Once you trap the ball, it's gonna hit the floor and then game over for you." Land it? I don't need that anymore. As Nagi would do a switch over to a juggling shot, finishing the game 2-3. The final whistle would blow as Nagi would have won the game for FC Barcha 3-2. His teammates would rush him with joy to celebrate. Nagi would look at Isagi and say, "I finally beat you." Then would wonder, what is next for me? We cut back to England's monitor room as Rail would say, "Great job, Nagi. I knew you could do it." Kaiser and Isagi would have a little banter before Ego came on the screen. Ego would tell everyone congrats on their first match and ask how it felt to taste the wider world. Ego would teach the Egoist about philosophies until Ego would reveal a special announcement that this is only the public version of the video, and in order to see the rankings for the other stratums and some of the clips for the other games, you will have to join Suki's membership in order to get the full version of the video, which will show the rankings from other stratums and some gameplay you don't see in the public version. So it's your choice how you want to go about it, but before that, since I want to give a special thanks to my #1 follower, Basil Dragon, I will show you Shido's bid and Kaiser's for free, as well as the ending to PXG's game. Nagi and Isagi would be stunned to see Win playing, with the score being 2-2, as Shido had just equalized the game. Win would score a devastating curve shot to end the game 3-2. Now on to the bids. With 10th place, we have Yoichi Isagi with a bid of 3 million. 7th place, Eita Otoya with 11 million. 4th place, Ryu Seishiro with 20 million. 3rd place, Seishiro Nagi with 22 million. 2nd place, Meguru Bachura with 34 million. And in 1st place, Rini Toshi with 36 million. and Kaiser is at 300 million like in canon. Now an important thing to discuss is how Nagi continues now that he has achieved his goal of beating Isagi. How did Seishiro Nagi's talent wither away? And was that a result of the environment of England, or is that just a Nagi problem? Ego states talent isn't the power to believe in your abilities, but the ability to showcase and prove your abilities. But that talent can change depending on one's surroundings and mental states. Sometimes you get the results that surpass your talent. For example, Nagi's 5-goal feints chain with the help of Ryo Mikage. However, he didn't do it in this version of the story to beat Isagi. So is he safe now? Well, not exactly. Ego does state it was the insanity level of the goal that made beating Isagi bad. But ultimately, whatever goal he scored, it was gonna be pure satisfaction in defeating Isagi that led to Nagi's downfall. His desire was released and an animal with a full stomach forgets to hunt, which that fire won't return. He doesn't have a mentor in Agi to tell him what to do, nor does he have any strong talented learners to help him on his team to help him go for his own goals. And their geniuses in Bachu and Otoya are only going for their own goals. And the leader who already has a favorite in Levino will not be trying to push Nagi forward, as Chris Prince tried. While Nagi x Bachura worked in the past, that was because Nagi was fired up. Now that he is not, Bachura won't have that interest in him. So many people say Nagi should have joined Barcha because of the freedom, but Nagi needs to understand his creativity and technique. Nagi is a genius freedom type. Give him too much freedom and he will fall. This is only because he was never really into the sport of soccer. He has always had people like Ryo and Isagi drop their own perception of freedom onto him that he just obliges to, stated by Chris in chapter 179. Nagi, once he starts carrying, he will get better in terms of his own freedom and creativity. But for now, he is actually just going to go down in the dumps since there's no one to push him forward. That is what he gets in FC Barcha. He has all the freedom in the world. However, the two things in the team that he needs to build him forward to motivate him right now to keep playing football at the highest level is not here. Imagine having till the end of the semester to finish a project. You're a talented learner nerd or a genius who is super motivated. You won't be really hyped up to do the assignment in the early stages of the assignment, but to procrastinate it and do it until damn near the ending of the semester. In early Blue Lock, Nagi procrastinated a lot. He even wanted to lose some games in the first selection when he wasn't fired up, just like in his canon self. He wouldn't care about the second and third match and would keep telling himself he can just make a comeback in the final match. Like a student would say, I can finish this assignment in the final hour. So for those wondering if Nagi will get predator eyes, I believe the answer is no. I believe it's a restrictive type of eye, as Rin, Yukimiya, Kaiser, Bao, and Onazi all have it, and I mean all of them are restrictive. It's kind of doubting on Onazi, but I believe that for now. And Sendo is a restrictive type too, and I believe he's gonna get it. One key way to understand a restrictive striker is their predictable playstyle. Like Bao, for instance, that's how Hiragi caught him lacking. Kaiser running the same plays with Kaiser Impact all the time, Rin running his curve shots, Yukimiya running his dribbling style to get the gyro shots, even with the level of competition he has now, and Bao always going for those long distance shots. They all have similar shooting routines and will not change it for no one. While they do have other options, they mainly have to go to the restrictive states to bring the best out of them. And when they are in their ultimate pleasure points, it's because of the insane pressure put upon them, like Bao scoring a double touch nutmeg with all that pressure on him, or Rin scoring his crash shot. If Nagi was a restrictive type, he would have found a way to awaken under all the pressure the NEL gave him, but he crumbled under that pressure, so he is not. Nagi is a freedom type because at his best being the second and third selections, he kept on being creative, creating new techniques like reverse black holes and creating new ways to score each match. His trapping playstyle allows him to reshape the game and give him unlimited ways to make the match into his own image. Just like Bachura's dribbling style, it gives him so many ways to cook in just one skill set. That is the same thing for Nagi as well. He was his strongest after he rebelled against the restriction that Will gave him in the second selection, or the one Aki gave him during the NEL. Except in the NEL, he had surpassed his limits, and with restriction of being Will's freedom and not the strength of his own freedom, he collapsed. So yeah, Nagi is a freedom type. but because of the external circumstances, he is still going to fall. Now, with that explanation, we can finally get into the build-up to the Ubers match, which wouldn't be much, just training drills, with Lavino noticing that Nagi isn't trying as hard as he did in the previous game, but he wouldn't think much of it yet. Lavino would announce the new starting lineup. Goalkeeper, Moro. Left back, Darai. Right back, Bose. Left center back, Uzais. Right center back, Ruiz. Central defensive midfielder, Wakatsuki. Central attacking midfielder, Gomez. Second central attacking midfielder, Picasso. Left wing, Nagi. Right wing, Otoya. Striker, Bachira. Lavino would give them the game plan. He would tell them that it's important to not stick to one route of scoring, as Ubers is an extremely annoying team that will understand your rhythm with ease, and would call out Bachira on how his rhythm was understood by Ness, and saying you need to do work in adding more rhythms to break this team down. In Spain, scoring the same goal over and over won't cut it, and this game is a perfect test to see if FC Barcha can live up to that Spanish rule. And most importantly, do the style, baby! With that, they would march onto the pitch to see the new members of the Ubers team. Nico, Sendo, and Bao would all finally join the team. Sendo would have it against Nagi for stealing his ace position in the exhibition match. Aryo would compliment FC Barcha on their glamorous victory against Bastard Munchen, but sadly they will suffer defeat against Uber Eats. As when your stomach is hungry, you give in to the temptation of Maid Bao's Italy Cafe. Nagi would say, let's get the show on the road. Bajo would say, let's crush him fast, and Otoya would say the ladies will be watching, better do it in style. Kickoff would start and Sendo would give the ball to Bao, who would get double pressed. Bao would send the ball back to Sendo, who everyone would be shocked that Bao was actually passing now. Sendo, who would send the ball to Nico, would give it off to Drago and then on to Perron, building up a slow attack. Bao would shake off Wakatsuki and get ready for a pass. Then Sendo would send a final pass, but Darai would intercept it, saying it smells over here. Darai would send a pass to Wakatsuki, who would send a pass to Otoya, who would start playing shadow tag with Bachira. Nagi would be looking to get into a position to get a loose ball and get his own attack going. However, Ari would be behind him. Sendo would try to tackle Bachira, but he nutmegs him and does a roulette pass to Nico. And then Lorenzo comes to the scenery, marking Bachira as the highest value on the team, so he is their ace, and he would devour him. Bachira would get excited by facing a super defender, a new gen 11 in Lorenzo. Lorenzo would dribble past Bachira and then Otoya. He would nutmeg Nagi and then start the charge. Wakatsuki would try to press him, but he would pass the ball to Sendo, who would pass it to Abdi, who sends it back to Lorenzo. Ruiz would try to tackle Lorenzo, but he would do a flick up and sends a pass to Bao with the right on him, but he does a chop feint to get past him and scores the opening goal of the game, 1-0. Nagi would say there's still time to turn it around. Bachira would commence for a counterattack. Bachira would slip past Bao and Sendo. Bachira would then nutmeg Abdi and do another nutmeg past Drago before doing the lift-up pass Perron. Lorenzo tries to intercept it, but Bachira sends a pass to Otoya, but Nico intercepts it, saying it was all in their design. Nico would send a pass to Drago, who would send another pass to Sendo, who would send a pass to Bao. With Wakatsuki on him, he would do a chop feint to get past him, but the was ready for it this time and steals the ball and sends it to Otoya, who would send a pass to Nagi. Nagi would trap it with ease to steamroll through Ubers. Nagi would get past Nico and Aryo with ease, and then Lorenzo would jump in, shocking Nagi. Bachira would scream for Nagi to pass it to Bachira, and which he does for Bachira to go for goal, but Aiku would stop it, saying that they shouldn't forget about him. Then Otoya would try to get the rebound, but Aryu headers it down to Lorenzo, who would make another charge and sends it to Baron. And automatically, Darai and Ruiz would get in his way, but Baron passes it back to Nico, who would send it to Perron, and then to Sendo, who gives the ball back to Bao in a Savannah like experience. Boom! Bao scores a Predator Eye Savannah goal to give Ubers the 2-0 lead over FC Barcha. Bachira would say playtime is over. We need a super performance to win this game. Bachira would tell Nagi to snap out of this phase, how it could have been 1-1 if he had locked in and scored earlier. Otoya would chime in, saying that super not cool. Nagi would still be in a daze. Nagi would ask what he should do. Bachira would say, whatever the ball tells you to do, let what you feel come to life. Nagi would be just dumbfounded. Kickoff would happen, but Bachira would immediately get pressed by Lorenzo, who wants to destroy Bachira one last time before winning 3-0. Bachira would show him his full power in a 1v1. Lorenzo would charge in, but Bachira would swipe the ball to his right. Bachira would be in total focus, making Lorenzo charge in first. Lorenzo would use his zombie giraffe legs to stay with Bachira, and then Bachira would turn it up a notch with the right double touch. then uses a double gear, double touch. But Lorenzo would do a side spin tackle to stay on Bachira, but Bachira would do a heel flick to get past him and pass it to Nagi, who gets past Nico and Aryu again, and IQ would come in. However, Nagi would pass it to Otoya, who shoots a shot, but Lorenzo takes it, leaving Bachira to finish it off with his B shot. Lorenzo would be cheering from the sidelines as Barcha finally got a goal. Nagi would say, just 2 more. The kickoff would initiate with a design change. Ubers would be playing to finish off the match now with a huge offensive pattern. Barrow would pass it to Nico, who passes it to Sendo, and passes it off to Drago, who passes it off to Perron, so they wouldn't be able to predict their next move. They would try to get the ball to Barrow, but Otoya would say he saw this coming easily. Otoya would send it to Wakatsuki, who sends it to Nagi. Nagi and Bachira would start bulldozing through the Uber's defense, but Lorenzo would still be putting heavy pressure on Bachira, so Nagi wouldn't be able to rely on Bachira to score, so he would just rely on his juggling shot that he used to beat Isagi. However, IQ would get in the way, saying that he saw through it too. They saw through their old matches. Barrow would pick up the rebound and start trading and start passing passes with Nico. Otoya would try to accept, but Barrow would send a different pass to Sendo, who would receive the pass and passes it to Nico, who would send the final pass to Barrow, who would smash in a villain goal to win the game 3-1. Bachira would walk over and tell Nagi not to sweat it, we can still be NEL champions. However, he isn't the same Nagi ever since he beat Isagi, and ask what's going on. In response, Nagi would say, I don't know. Otoya would say we need everyone at full power in order to beat Blue Lock's #1, Itoshi Rin. Nagi would walk over to Barrow and ask what pushes him forward. Barrow would respond to be the best, obviously. Nagi would ask, and if that happens, Barrow would respond with he would create his own era of soccer where he will take down anyone who comes for his throne. Barrow would comment, as Nagi is right now, he isn't a pain at all. Barrow would say he isn't hungry enough and can't feel his pain in the butt fire. To him, it looks like Nagi is just pretending to fight, so he recommends to go diet and come back, and to stop using a bald fake ego. That lukewarm mindset won't work on the world stage. Ego would come on and say, as match 4 has just ended, we will be waiting to see how match 3 ends shortly. And for my members, you will be able to see the ending to Basu München versus Manshine City without Isagi, as remember Isagi and Kunigami got benched. So Nagi and Barrow would be shocked to see Isagi on the bench, and even Kunigami is on the bench too. We would see Rail and Agi make their way down the pitch, with Rail passing through Ali, passing it to Agi, who gets through Ness, but is stopped by Kaiser. Nagi would look at the scoreboard and see Kaiser already with 2 goals and Chiguri with 1. Rail would shoot a ring curve shot, but Gagamal would save it, sending it for a corner. Nagi would be shocked Rail copied Rin's play style. Rin would be watching this in a disgust, calling it a lukewarm copy of it. Nanase would have just started Rin's extra program. Rail would get ready to take the corner, but Rin and Tokimitsu would recognize this as Rin's Olympical corner. Rail would score an insane corner goal to equalize the game 2-2. Nagi would be shocked at how far Rail has come. Shido would smirk that Rail is truly following his copycat explosion. Zantetsu would say that Rail has gotten even hotter. Karasu would say in regular terms is cooler, but he gets hotter with converts too. But don't keep admiring him, as we have to destroy him soon. 20th place, Yoichi Isagi with 3 million. Also in 20th place is Itsuki Wakatsuki with 3 million. 14th place, Eita Otoya with 14 million. 13th place, Miroku Durai with 16 million. 11th place, Seishiro Nagi with 18 million. Second place, Meguro Bachira with 68 million. And in first place, Shorei Bao with 100 million. Nagi would be shocked to see himself regress, but Bachira would say it's only natural, as he barely did anything when it mattered the most. Otoya at least provided the assist to his goal, so it made sense. But it doesn't matter because they have to give it their all against PXG and win, so they can keep their hopes of becoming NEL champions alive. Lorenzo would be excited on getting to devour Kaiser in the next game. IQ and Aryu wouldn't find much interest in Germany since they lost both of their games. Bauer would just hope Isagi finds a way to come back for the next game, as he wants to crush a stronger Isagi. They would both head back to their locker rooms. Bachira, noticing Nagi was down, would reflect on the time Nagi saved him in the second selection. He would tell Nagi he was planning on seeing Isagi and if Nagi would want to come, and Nagi would accept. Rin would be watching replays of the Barcha game and say he's gonna crush Nagi and make Sai regret choosing Nagi instead of his own little brother. Well, damn, that was a fun one to record. Anyways, until part 4, stay blessed, Suki out.